How do you curate a five-star experience in your salon? Hi, I'm Kayla Swanson, and I'm your host of the Profitable Salon Owner podcast. And hanging out with me today is the beautiful Shelby Bills. What's up, Shelby? How are you?
I'm so good, Kayla. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing really, really good. I am so excited to have Shelby on today to talk about a five-star experience. We had destination training back in March, and she led a beautiful session there where she talked about how to have a five-star experience. And it might not be what you think. So we're going to dive into that today. But before we do that, Shelby, will you tell me a little bit about yourself? Tell me where your salon located. Tell me all those things.
Great. Yes. So I'm Shelby Bills, and I own Graeber and Company Salon and Spa in right here in Boise, Idaho. And I'm super excited to be on here. I've been a member of the High Performance Salon Academy for about 4 years, and I'm one of the mentors in the academy. And this is just such a great platform, and for us to share our knowledge and collaborate. And I'm excited to be here with you.
Nice. I love that. Because I think in talking about the experience of having a five-star experience, like, yeah, you're looking for those five-star reviews and you think, oh, yeah, I got to perform really, really well to be able to have, like, give them an experience they want to give a review for. But you were kind of talking about a different way to look at it in terms of, like, yes, there's certain check boxes that you have, but there's other things that you thought about. So tell me a little bit about what to think about when it comes to having a good experience at your salon.
I love this. So I think in the past, in our industry, we've been trained so much on the technical skill and delivery of the service. So when a guest comes in and they want a haircut or they want a color or a styling service, that's the technical service. And if they come in and they get a great consultation and we deliver on the expectation, then we believe we created a five-star service. And is what we're finding now is customers, clients, guests, we call them guests in our salon, they are looking for more value. They are looking for a better experience, and they're willing to invest in that, in their time, with their money, with their talents, anything like that. They're willing to invest in an experience, and the experience goes beyond the service. So the experience is adding your point of difference, adding your flair, your wow, those memorable moments, those intangible moments, and that feeling that creates and evokes an emotion so that when they leave us, they remember us the entire time they're gone and they're excited to come back for next time.
Oh, I love that. Because we talked about this multiple times before on how people are not just going to the salon to have their hair look good. Like they're going, like it's their, especially since they're spending that amount of money, they want an experience. They want to escape from their life. They want to feel pampered. They want to feel like it's an escape from their life and it's where they go and take care of them. And so I love the note of like, yeah, how do you leave an impression that lasts emotionally? Because people will remember more of how they felt when they're at your salon than what actually happened there. Because they come in, especially if they're coming in every 6 weeks, they're like used to it and it's like the same service every time, but what is the experience that they're getting when they get there, which I think is such a valuable thing to talk about today. So when you're oh my gosh, when you are talking about that, how do you start to position your brain? Like what path do we need to lead our brain down to start thinking differently than just thinking about the experience that we're giving them?
Yeah. So in my salon, we took every touch point from the guest. I guess every time that whether they book online with us and they walk in the door, how they're greeted, the tours that we offer, the beverages that they taste. So we're having those first senses touched from that experience. Then we go into the consultation and the delivery of the service. What's then the follow up? How are we going to ensure that they're going to be back next time? So our rebooking, and then we have our goodbye for now. So that's, I think, all of our basic service cycle. And we took each section of that and added what is the touch point, the memorable moment, or what could evoke an emotion during each one of those pieces. And we curated that for our guests to create this experience of the whole human experience while they're in our salon.
Wow. So you're talking about like, yes, when they come in. So obviously every salon is different. Every avatar is different. Your guests are different. So you're saying like, okay, here is what we offer at your salon. Because maybe some people's salon, there's things that you don't offer that other people do. So what do you offer? What are the five touch points or what touch points do they have? And then how do you look at it in your own salon and be like, okay, what do we offer? What is that experience for them? So it's not necessarily a one size fits all. It's like almost like a formula that you then bring to your own salon and then look at your own way that you do it. And maybe there's some holes. And you're like, wow, we don't offer a beverage, or we don't, like when they first walk in the door, there is no touch point, and seeing the lack that you have in your salon. So what is like, when you start to look at that, how did you guys look at each part and see what experience it was to have?
Yeah. So for my business, I have a whole concierge team. So the guest experience when they walk in the door, we want to make sure that they are greeted within 3 seconds with eye contact and a smile. because
Wow.
we have 3 seconds to make a first impression. And so we want to start there is what does that look like? Sometimes when you walk into a business or you're shopping and the salespeople are talking to the side, or they don't even acknowledge your presence, or you're standing there waiting in line. We never want our guests to feel like that. So that's part of our warm welcome, is what we call it, our warm welcome. So that's our greeting. And then we say, welcome. Like, we're excited to see you, and our energy goes up and we're smiling. Even if they're on the phone, they're acknowledging, they're smiling, they're making eye contact.
Yeah.
Then we want to go into an opportunity to touch one of the senses. So when they walk in, they're going to have an aroma experience in my business. So currently we are in a Veda salon. So they walk in and they smell a Veda. So they're going to smell that aroma. The lighting is curated for the guest experience in the front for them to walk in and feel like, right? We want to feel that like deep breath. I'm here. I'm excited to be here. Then we're going to experience either a warm or cool hand towel that's infused with an aroma upon their greeting. So they're going to have a refresh. They're going to feel really good. Their hands are going to be clean, and then we're going to walk them over to our beverage. And at a beverage, they get the opportunity to have either a Veda comforting tea, or they can have our signature coffee, or we have cool filtered water for them to experience while they're in. So you think about a warm welcome in those moments, that is an entire touch point and service cycle just for that experience.
Yeah, that's before the service even starts. I mean, you guys are like making sure like this is an experience for you before we even touch your hair or sit you in a chair.
Yeah, because I think I read something, and I don't know the exact stat, but I'm stats, facts, whatever. I love all those things.
Absolutely.
And when a new client walks into the salon, I think it was like 98% are intimidated to walk into a salon or don't feel like they would be accepted or welcomed. So we're already the opportunity for us to reduce those barriers of entry and make someone feel really good in the beginning. That's where it starts for us.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. I think of myself when I go into salon because I get my hair done like once a year. Like I'm not a frequent flyer at a salon. And it is like when you said that, I was like, yeah, it is kind of intimidating because like you see people, like everybody's like, so comfortable there. And I'm like, man, I go once a year and it just does. It feels like, man, this is more foreign. This is not like a very familiar place to me. And so I think like, yeah, you walk into a salon and everybody's just working, doing their own thing. And you're just like, you almost like, it's like you're interrupting. Like you kind of walk up and you're disrupting. You're like, I don't know what to say or how to get there. And that stuff, it matters. It matters how you feel, even if you're consciously not aware of how it's making you feel. It's making you feel a certain way, and it's going to like conscious or subconsciously affect your experience when your guests walk into your salon. It's going to subconsciously affect them, and it could waver their decision to come back another time, or how did it feel. And so when you go out of your way to just break those barriers down, regardless of who walks in the doors, and making that a normal practice in your salon, then you just cover that base. You just like, okay, this is how we treat every salon. So no matter who walks in, whether they come every 6 weeks or, it's their first time in, that is the experience that they're curating, is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. And I love that you brought that up, because I think that that's something that we all can learn from, is taking it beyond the service. Like,
Yeah.
I would never want someone to walk in my business and feel like they were a burden. Like, could you imagine like walking in and feeling like you're interrupting someone because they're having a side conversation, or because no one greeted them, and there's not an experience to that. And so that's something that we really love, and we definitely cherish for our concierge department and our support team, that they are so big on that very first experiential piece for us.
Yeah. And I love the other part of it too. Like aside from the guests, even like your employees, like, yeah, you have a whole concierge team, but there's a high standard that you hold of this is how you act when somebody walks in the door. Because I know sometimes people can walk in and you can almost be intimidated by the guest. You're like, okay, well, like, I don't know really how to like command their vibe, or maybe they were having a bad day. They kind of come in. And so when you have an expectation, like no matter who it is, this is how you act. It gives your employees, it gives your staff, it gives your concierge team a method to be able to, I know how to react, or how to, when somebody walks through those doors, it's already set in motion. Like this is the standard of how we operate, rather than so then nothing's missed, because it's like an automatic action that everybody does. And if somebody's not around, then that person, you collectively as a salon know this is how we behave when someone walks in the door. So if nobody talks to them within 3 seconds, then I will jump in and be like, hey, hi, welcome to the salon, which I think is really cool, having both ends of that for the guest and for your employees as well.
Yeah. And our team, that's something that also I think is part of the experience. Like if you see a guest and you're a stylist walking through the salon, or maybe you're an esthetician, or you're in the back in the offices in the call center, whatever, but you walk by a client and you've made eye contact with them, that is now your trigger and your opportunity to make eye contact, to smile, to offer them maybe a beverage or a magazine, or that's where we take it one step further. You see something, you do something.
Wow, I love that. See something, do something. And I think, again, holding that whole culture of like, that's how we operate. And it's like, imagine even belonging to a salon that treats people like that. Like, you want to cultivate an environment, your whole salon from start to finish, from the moment they walk in to the moment they leave, even when they go home and they're telling their friends about it, be like, man, you got to check out this salon. Like, it just felt so good. It was so like, think of the most relaxing place you've ever been. Maybe it's on vacation, you're sitting in the sand or whatever it looks like. You want to feel that relaxation, and then you bring it to your own neighborhood and your own town where people can experience that on the daily or on the weekly, 6 weekly, and be able to experience that constantly. Like, that's the kind of thing, especially at a spa, you're having like those kinds of services, they warrant that relaxation and that experience that you're having. Because it's like, I mean, there's other parts of it, like cleanliness and like the environment.
We're Forest, born on the salon floor and built for and by hair and beauty professionals like you. Forest is your marketing, your reporting, your reputation management. You need one easy-to-use system that does it all. Forest, together we grow.
So let's walk away. So then they first walk in, we talked a lot about that. What comes next after that?
So then, hopefully, this is not get to happen. Then their service provider, so whether that's their stylist or their esthetician, is going to come up and greet them. And so they've been checked in on the computer. We have an app where our stylist gets notified that the guest has arrived. Nice. And we have a 3-minute, like 3 minutes, you should be up there. If they're waiting longer than 5 minutes, then we want to make sure that we have asked their permission to take a little longer. So that's also a key component to the culture of like, we don't want them to wait. And so the stylist would then come up and greet them. And they're going to either greet them with eye contact and a smile, they're going to do a handshake, they're going to do a hug, or they're going to do a hand over heart.
Aww.
So how do you greet someone, even when you've seen them a lot? Like if we're good friends, I'm going to hug you. If I might give you a high five, I might shake your hand. It kind of depends on that relationship, but something like that's an offering, and that we're not just like, come on back, right?
Yeah. It's not like you first things out of your mouth. Yeah.
We do that a lot. So then we'll go into the service. And so let's say it's in the salon service and it's a hairstylist with their guest. They're going to sit down in a chair with the guest, sitting down eye to eye, and do an eye to eye consultation. We're not standing behind the guest. We're not standing in the mirror. We're not saying, do you want the same as last time? It's a full consultation. And that consultation is going to, first off, let us know why the guest is here. We're going to make sure that we're inspecting their expectations. What do they want? And we're going to look at pictures of their inspiration pictures. How are we going to know that we deliver on what they want? We're then going to talk about their scalp analysis. We're going to talk about their hair. Do they need a scalp treatment? Do they need a bond repair treatment while they're in? We're going to offer those opportunities. We're going to also talk pricing in the consultation and make sure that the guest understands the investment. And if that's not in their beauty budget, this is the opportunity we get to talk about what is in their beauty budget and how can we create a service for them today that works for today. So that's just the consultation.
Yeah. I love that. Now, do you guys do that, whether it's a new guest or a returning guest? Like, that is the standard of any guest that sits in the chair, consultation first, no matter how many times they've been in your salon?
So in the past, it was generally a new guest experience. However, why would we be treating new clients in a different way than we are treating our existing retained guest who loves us? They're coming back every 6 weeks, and we're not asking them every time what they want. Do they want to change something? Are they happy? Do they have a scalp concern? We don't know if we're not asking. So now we're implementing that into every guest every time.
Wow. I love that. Like, because you don't think about that. You're like, oh, well, we're used to them. We're buddies now. Like, I do think that when, you get more used to people, then like how you treat them and what your expectation of how you act is, it kind of starts to falter, because you're just like, well, you're a loyal customer now. So then you like, I don't have to worry about you leaving because, have a friendship now. But then the next salon down the street opens up, somebody tells them like, man, the experience that I had there, then what's going to stop them from being like, well, I'm going to go experience that. And then I love what you just said about like, it's realizing and that we should be treating our guests that way as a standard. And because it's a continual experience for them. And that's the business that you're running. And I think that is so valuable. And I love that, like, ask, like, yeah, do you want something different? Because I think some people can even get stuck in the same haircut every single time. And like, maybe they do want something different, but they don't want to change it. They don't know if you're open to that. And so being able to just open the conversation, even if it's a short consultation, open the conversation and be like, how's it going? What are you like? Yeah. What are we doing today? That kind of thing. And having that conversation. I love the eye contact, because I think that in itself is also something that we don't have very often, is the eye contact with people when we're having conversations and that connection. And it's a valuable piece. I always notice when people look me in my eyes when they talk to me, because it's a different connection. It's like, hey, I'm not afraid of you. I'm like staring right at you. I care. I'm focused on you. I'm not distracted, which is a really important part of it.
Yeah. And we know that eye to eye moment, it's a moment for them. And it's a moment to connect with them as the human in front of you, not the hair or the skin. They're a person, that's what they're here to receive. And they want to know that is going to be a great experience for them. And that's the opportunity in the very beginning for the stylist to create that for them.
Are you still guessing what your color services are actually costing you? Guessing the cost of your services is eating into your profits. With Salon Scale, you can separate your parts from your labor and charge for every drop of color used. Stop letting your back bar drain your earnings. Click the link in the description to get 10% off of your first year or start your free trial today. Salon Scale. Profit starts with every mix.
Wow, man, so cool. I think this is such a cool refresher. Even if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I have some of these things, but not all of these things, like take this as like a note to just be more mindful of what is your experience like? What intentionality are you putting into it? Do you focus more on the new guests and their experience than the recurring guests, the guests that are coming in multiple times? And I think that it's worth sitting and reflecting on what is the experience that you're having, that your guests are having coming in, and even what experience are your service providers offering? Like how, like, I think having those standards of this is how we treat everybody almost is like a baseline, like we said it before, a baseline of this is how we operate as a salon. This is the culture of who we are, not in just with each other, but also with other people. Then you can like hold those expectations with people, and everybody bands together. Like, this is what we're trying to cultivate, which I think is such a valuable thing.
I love it. And this is something that didn't come from just me. I have a vision of how I want every Graeber guest to experience their service and their time with us. That's the big vision. And then my leadership team took every component and every piece, and we added our flavor, our wow, our experience component. And so this is a whole team driven experience, and they want this too. Like, they want to receive these when they get services. They want the guests to feel this way. So it's not about, I think a lot of times we think, oh, it's about the salon, and we create these standards. We create these standards of excellence, and then they get to bring their flavor. And it's so cool.
Yeah. Tell me, I'm curious now that you said that how you kind of got into bringing this in. So you had a vision, and you brought your leadership team, which I think is so important. We talk a lot about leadership teams and having like basically a band of people who just help make decisions. And because you have different minds, people are going to approach things differently. And yeah, like what do you want to have when you go to a salon? I love that. So Shelby, what kind of happened when you this idea kind of like came about in your mind, this vision that you had? Did you have something happen, or where did this kind of originate?
So my background has been with Aveda, and Aveda is, there are signature rituals in Aveda salons. And so we've always done that as far as being in an Aveda salon. And I grew up in the salon, so I'm an Aveda baby. We do the rituals, we did the thing. However, is what I was finding is not every stylist was doing the thing. Not every provider was doing the ritual. And I'm like, well, how can integrity is our number one core value. So how could we, as a company that says that we have integrity, that we're going to do what we say we're going to do, we offer these services and then we're not delivering? So it had to start with that for me, and then find out why. And a lot of it is just fear and those things. And so getting my team on board with feeling comfortable. The last year, we have been every meeting, every connection time, we're doing a ritual, we're role playing, we're having fun with them. And then we introduced this 5-star experience model with our leadership team and talked about, how do we deliver this? I have 30 team members. How do we deliver this so that every guest, every time, gets to have this experience, no matter who they see, so that when we say we do this, every guest will get that.
Ooh,
That's tough.
That.
That's tough.
That is because you have so many different people. You have people who are brand new to the industry. People who have been, they've been in the industry for 20 years. Like wherever you are, adopting this we have a 5-star experience standard at our salon. So if you work here, this is the standard that you have. And then I think like getting the leadership team on board and then just making it a part of what you guys do. It's easier to kind of adapt to that and to be like, yeah, this is what we do, everybody else is doing.
Ready to transform your business and improve your salon's profitability? With Lonza's 3-in-1 technology and intermixable shades, your hair color inventory is streamlined with limitless creativity behind the chair. Click the link below to unveil the secret to salon success.
What do you do? How do you handle it if you see somebody or somebody complains that like somebody didn't give a guest a 5-star experience? How do you kind of handle that?
Yeah. So first, my job is to always stay curious. And so I'm going to get curious on why. And so then I'm going to find out, like, let's say that's one of my probably newer level stylists usually, or a very busy seasoned stylist. So either it's time or education is a lot of times what I know is the barrier or the hurdle, right? And so then I'll stay curious. I'll go to them and I want to know what happened in that. And then that's their opportunity to tell me, like, that guest does not like the hand massage. They don't want to be touched in that way. They are on a time constraint, whatever that is for them. Then we talk about like, okay, well, that makes sense. So next time you have a guest that's on a time constraint, what is something else that you can add as what's the alternative? So because we still want the guest, even if they're running late, they're stressed out, they don't want it, they maybe want something else. And is there another option?
I love that. So then do you take those, like when that situation happens, do you then bring it to your team and talk about it with the rest of the people? Like, hey, this is a solution that we found to this person who's running late. So then as things happen, you learn from like, oh, this is a situation that could occur. You share it with the rest of your teams and be like, if this happens to you, this is how we can handle it in the future.
Yeah, so we meet once a month and we do collaboration, celebration. They're not meetings, it's really collaboration and celebration opportunities. And so if this is something that one of my team members experienced, we want to bring that to the forefront. So then I would be like, let's say that was Sarah, and I would say like, hey, Sarah shared something that happened this last week with her. Can we talk about that for a minute? And then I'll ask Sarah, I'll be like, hey, tell me about what happened with the guests. So Sarah's the one setting us up for the whole team. And then I'm going to quiz Sarah on like, okay, well then what did you do? Well, then this is what the guest said. Awesome. So what could we do next time? And so she's the one coaching and teaching and training the whole team. Cool. And then it opens up dialogue and maybe someone else has another thought or something better because I mean, the genius is in the room. They know better than I do. And they're going to create something so much better than what I even came up with.
Wow. I love the lace between all this whole conversation on how involved you are with your team and having them make more decisions because I did this 21 Laws of Leadership book, and it talks about like getting your team's buy-in, and it's like all the laws of like to be a good leader. It's like making sure that your team feel like you are a good leader in terms of like they have input as well, because nobody wants to just be like a shut up and follow me kind of person. They want to be a part of it. Especially we talk a lot about when you're building a salon, you don't have a salon if you don't have your team, and your team wants to build their careers and they want to elevate themselves and they want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves and be a part of a culture and a mission that is going to continue growing, and they can help make decisions and things like that. I love what you said, Shelby, about the geniuses in the room. And so leaning into your team and asking those questions and getting them involved in having the conversation is such a cool way to get them to come up with those ideas. Like, what can we do instead? Like, here's our standard. It didn't work for that particular client. So what could we do instead? And keeping those conversations open.
Are you ready to increase your retention and revenue and convert website traffic to clients? Then you're ready for Maya. Maya creates better business relationships by pairing the right clients with the right beauty professionals. Use promo code HPSA for your first 2 months free. Visit joinmaya.com to get started.
So you said you meet once a month?
Yeah, so we'll meet as a whole team once a month. Leadership team meets twice a month. Concierge team meets once a week.
Wow.
So we have touch points throughout the departments too, which is awesome because like as we were creating this 5-star experience and we rolled into the technical delivery. So I'm not a stylist. My background is in business and marketing. And so we roll into the technical delivery. I default to my leadership team and I say, well, what do you guys want to create? Because this is your wheelhouse. And then they get really, really excited about what comes next in the technical delivery and that 5-star experience.
Wow, that's so cool. So when you say you have a concierge team, is it just people like their job is designated to the experience, or what's that mean when you have a concierge team? What's their role?
So there are receptionists, right?
Okay.
So they're going to greet, they're going to offer tours, they're going to welcome. They're going to check in the guests, check out the guests, ensure the tickets are accurate. They are retail experts, so they are in sales also. So we fully expect them and train them. Education comes from us, so we train them on the products. They get to be part of the daily. We don't do a daily huddle per se. We have a daily group text. So they do put out the sales goals for the day. They do an inspiration piece for the day.
Oh, wow.
They keep us updated, like where are we at on rebook throughout the day. And then they're making sure that like inventory's done, our promotions are set up, our whole front of house looks beautiful, and that guest gets to have that experience.
Wow, man, kind of gives me the chills just thinking of just like the intentionality that I'm hearing and like knowing like this is like such an important part. It's such an important part of it that there's a whole, and I love that so it's like you might have, if you're listening, you might have a receptionist at your front desk. So you're saying your concierge is like that, but with all these other like your concierge, because it's like even being titled differently, it's like it kind of sets you in a different part of how you treat your people and what your role is. It's like you are here to serve and to make sure that the people are having the best experience. Other like you think of going to a hotel and a concierge service, like coming in and just really VIP taking care of you. And so I love like even changing that title. It's like it can really change your mindset of when you walk into work, like you know how you were supposed to operate when you're at work. And I think that's really cool. Man, such a valuable thing.
So cool. And they also support our team. Like the reason that we get to be a great team-based business, right? We're an employee team-based business is also because the amount of support that we have and that our team has, and they can deliver on this 5-star experience because they know that there's a whole bunch of other people taking care of the other pieces and parts of this guest experience. So they get to lean on each other, and it's a beautiful dance. And yes, days are chaotic and crazy and wild, and it goes by so fast, and we have such a blast.
Yeah. Man, I love what you just said there. And I'll make sure to hit that point of like, it's, when you establish this as a standard as your whole team from the start to finish, and we'll talk a little bit as you in the service because we haven't hit that yet. But when you talk about every person, every staff member, every service provider in your salon has the same goal and outcome of the 5-star experience for each guest, then, wherever the handoffs are, where the concierge team to the service provider, like they all know that like they have confidence in each other, that we're all held to the same standard of how we treat our guests. So they know like when the service provider takes, it's a handoff they get their guests, they already know like, man, they've had a really great experience. Now I can continue and follow up with that. That you can feel the energy of that guest is completely different because you can just tell like they have had a beautiful experience and I'm going to continue that experience. And you guys trust each other to be able to accomplish that, which I think is really cool. There's no balls dropped in like, oh, this didn't happen, because you're just trusting each other for that to happen, which is a really cool point that I love that you just made. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, so we talked about the service itself. So then as it wraps up, you do the hair, or you do hair, or do esthetician, whatever the service is, then how do you guys kind of close it out?
Yeah. So pieces in the service that we don't want to forget are our retail recommendations. We call it the art of recommendation. My job is to be the professional for that guest. And they come to us because we are the professional experts. We are not their financial advisor, we are not their accountant, and we are not there to check their wallets. We are there to professionally recommend and be the experts on the things that they need to use for their hair care, their skin care, maybe their body, their wellness. We may even have resources outside of our industry that we can refer to. And so we want to talk about that in the service. So they're doing retail recommendations. They're making sure that the guest knows what the opportunities and options are for the additional services, for the home care product. Towards the end, if they ask, or if we know that we want to teach them a little style lesson, they may take a section of the hair and hand the brush and blow dryer over to the guest, show them a new technique. They may have a curling iron. So we want to do, I love that Jason talks about the learn, turn, teach model, because we do that in the 5-star experience. We want to teach our guests how to recreate this at home. So that happens in the chair also.
Wow, man, honestly, that is such a cool thing, because I think it is like, I think some people might think the opposite, like, well, no, we want them to keep coming back to us. But like for me and myself, like, man, yeah, like how do they get my hair to look like this? I can never replicate what that is. But even like the feeling of them showing me how to do it would make me feel like, man, like they care about how I'm going home. They care about how I feel every day, not just how I feel walking out of the salon. They care how I'm going home, which I think is so important.
Like, I want you to feel like a supermodel. You walk out our doors and your hair is blowing in the wind, and there's the paparazzi around and all the things. And I want you to walk around like that for the next 6 to 8 weeks, because not only do you feel good, your confidence, like you're powerful and you're our walking advertisement. So we want to make sure that you feel like that all the time, whether you're with us in the salon or whether you're at home or with your family or in your business, in your career, whatever you're doing, that you feel empowered to have all of those skills and abilities and products and all the things that you need.
Wow. I mean, and that right there is a mission for your salon that's bigger than I just do hair. It's bigger. It's like you're elevating the world's perception of the beauty industry, which is it's our mission is the High Performance Salon Academy. And it's just like the perception of how we treat people and what we're doing and our mission of why we're doing this in the first place. And I love the extra level of thought that goes into it, because it's a retention. Like you're going to retain more people because that is the experience you're offering them to think about that, which I think is super cool. Okay. So then you wrap it up. So that's the service retail recommendation. Then you start to wrap it up.
Yep. So then we're wrapping it up. Color guests while they're getting a service. We do complimentary hand treatments and paraffin dips in a color.
Oh my goodness.
So that also happens during the service while they're processing. So then we've done our blow dry experience. We've done our style lesson. We've done all of those things. Now we're going to finish with our goodbye. So our goodbye includes the rebook, and the rebook could happen at any touch point. So the rebook is the conversation during the consultation. It might happen during the processing time where the stylist just pulls out their mobile app and they can just book right from the chair so that guest doesn't have to wait until later, which is what we prefer, because the less wait time at the end of the service, we would rather have that happen there.
Yeah.
Now, if there's not an opportunity to do that or they don't have processing time, then we will finish out. So we will offer them a gallery stroll through all of our retail products. We will go up and make sure that they know exactly where the products live on the shelf, the top 3 products that stylist recommends for the guest. They may stop, they may talk about the touch points or the most important things of that product, how to use it. Pricing is listed right there. They're going to pick it up, put it in their hand or in a basket. So we have 2 options. And then they're going to walk them to the front desk. And then our concierge team will check them out. So our biggest touch points at the end is we want to make sure, did we deliver on the expectation? Consultation, we took a before picture. Finishing up, we're taking an after photo, and we're going to upload those into our software. So if any questions ever come up, we have those for reference.
Beautiful.
And then they're going to do the gallery stroll. They're going to go to the concierge team. They're going to make sure that their appointment is rebooked for next time. And then we say this is like the goodbye for now. It's not a goodbye. It's not a see you later. It's a goodbye for now. And we're already excited to see you in 6 to 8 weeks. We have your appointment. You have your products. And you're going to get a follow-up text from us. You're going to get a follow-up touch point. And we're going to say goodbye for now. And we're excited to see you next time.
Wow. It literally gives me the chills just thinking of the intentionality and thinking about that, like thinking of somebody being treated like that as they're walking out of a salon. It's cool. It's cool to think that is an experience that people are having, because I think it matters. So with all of that, and I hope you got a lot out of this conversation if you're here listening. But what has it been since implementing this? What has been like, I don't know if retention rate is the right word, but your rebook, how has it affected your salon? What's been the growth since you've implemented this kind of stuff?
Yeah. So that's actually a great segue, because we started this conversation and training, I think like 9 months ago or something.
Wow.
We were having a conversation, and we were at like a 55% rebook rate. And that, like, I don't love that. I don't want to know that half of my paycheck is guaranteed in the future. I want to make sure that we're doing something more. And so that education piece came first, then the training, all the things. We are currently, so we actually are delivering this experience cycle and the whole new elevated experience in 2 weeks to our entire team.
Wow.
So I'll let you know then. But currently,
Beautiful.
we are up to 67 to 70% rebook rate with a very big chunk of new artists. We have 6 to 8 new artists on our team, and their rebook is growing every single week because of all of this training and this experience for the guests. So I want to see that. My goal is to see that upwards 75, 80, 85%.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Wow, that is so cool. And so hopefully if you're listening to this, you got a lot out of it. I looked down the times like, man, it's been like, it went by so fast because it was such a fun conversation to be a part of, because it matters. This stuff matters. Thinking of the little things, thinking of the experience of how leaving people, leaving with an emotional feeling of how do they feel walking out of your salon? Because like you said earlier, like they're a walking testimonial. They will talk about the experience that they had. And then people be like, oh, I like your hair. Like, oh man, this salon, the best salon, you got to check it out. It's like, it's so great. And that kind of stuff is what will really make an impact to the people walking into your salon, whether it's their 100th time walking into your salon or their first time. It matters how you treat them. So thank you so much, Shelby, for hanging out with me today and sharing this. I think it's so valuable. I hope that if you're listening, that you implement some of these things, even if you stop and look, where are the touch points that we are meeting our guests at, and where are we dropping the ball, or where can we get better at? And then just take a step at a time, one day at a time, get your leadership team involved, talk to them about what their ideas could be, how they want to be treated. Because as we heard, Shelby has this whole line out of how they do it, but it may be different for your salon or your area. You have different people, your avatar is completely different. So you got to think about it. How does it connect to your salon, and how can your salon as itself, what's the brand of your salon and how you treat your guests? So thank you so much, Shelby, for hanging out. This has been great.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited for this. And everybody, create your flavor, your wow, and just make it yours. And whatever that is, it's going to be beautiful and perfect. So
exactly. All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time on the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast.
You've been listening to the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a review, and check us out at profitablesalon.com for more episodes, content, and to help you turn your salon into the business you've always dreamt of.